The sun glinted off the sleek glass windows of the corporate tower as Arya Sterling strode into the CEO's office, her heels clicking sharply against the polished marble floor. She had been summoned unexpectedly, the summons vague but brimming with the kind of anticipation that made her stomach knot. Inside, Miles Hawthorne, the infamously arrogant yet impossibly charming CEO of Hawthorne Enterprises, was perched casually on the edge of his mahogany desk, a smirk tugging at the corners of his lips. "Fly this helicopter," he said, tossing a set of keys toward her, "and I'll marry you." Arya froze, her heart pounding, unsure if she had misheard. The office seemed to tilt for a moment, her mind racing. Was this some cruel joke? Miles Hawthorne was a man who lived in a world of power and perfection, untouchable, unapproachable, and yet here he was, daring her to step into the impossible. Her instinct screamed to walk away, but curiosity, that persistent whisper of bravery, nudged her forward. Before she could fully comprehend the absurdity of the situation, she found herself reaching for the keys. If you believe in kindness and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Heart of a Father, because this story is one that will warm your heart. Arya had been a janitor at Hawthorne Enterprises for 3 years. She had never cared about climbing the corporate ladder, her life was simple, her heart quieter than most. She worked to provide for her younger brother, Jonah, who had dreams too big for the small apartment they shared. She had learned early that life didn't hand out opportunities, it demanded grit, patience, and resilience. Her days were filled with mopping floors, cleaning offices, and quietly observing the grand, chaotic world of power she didn't belong to. Yet somehow, Miles had noticed her. Not her spotless uniform or her efficient work, but the way she carried herself with dignity and quiet strength. Flying a helicopter, however, was something entirely different. Arya's palms sweated as she walked to the rooftop helipad, the bright daytime sun casting stark shadows across the cityscape. The helicopter gleamed under the sunlight, a metallic bird poised for flight. The pilot's seat felt impossibly high, the controls foreign and intimidating. Miles watched her from the rooftop balcony, amusement and challenge dancing in his eyes. "You've got this," he called, his voice carrying the kind of confidence that made the impossible seem achievable. Arya's fingers trembled on the controls as she recalled the one time in her life she had dared to dream bigger than her circumstances. Her high school science project had required her to simulate a flight experiment. It had been small, laughable even, but it had planted a seed of courage. Today, that tiny seed was about to become her lifeline. Taking a deep breath, she focused, letting intuition guide her. The rotor blades whirred, slicing through the midday air. For a moment, the city below seemed to pause, the noise fading into the hum of potential and fear mingling. Miles, watching her from above, was struck not by her skill, which was surprisingly adept, but by her fearlessness. He had built empires, conquered markets, and yet here was a woman, a janitor, handling a machine of incredible complexity with poise and determination. There was something magnetic about her courage, something profoundly human that he had long forgotten existed in his world of contracts and board meetings. As Arya navigated the helicopter, memories of her struggles surfaced, the late nights cleaning offices while Jonah slept on a threadbare couch, the quiet dinners they shared with barely enough to eat, the feeling of invisibility that followed her like a shadow. And yet, each memory fueled her determination. She wasn't just flying a helicopter, she was claiming every ounce of bravery she had hidden behind her uniform, every whispered dream she had kept to herself. Hours later, though it felt like minutes, she landed the helicopter back on the rooftop with a precision that made even Miles gasp. He stepped forward, the earlier smirk replaced by something softer, almost reverent. "I underestimated you," he admitted, the sunlight catching his hair in a way that made his features softer, human, approachable. "I thought this would be a joke, something to test your limits. But you've left me speechless." Arya climbed down, legs unsteady, heart racing not from fear, but from the rush of proving to herself that she could rise above what the world expected of her. Miles approached, hesitated, then offered his hand. The gesture was simple, yet it carried the weight of unspoken respect and admiration. "So, the deal?" he asked, his voice almost a whisper. Arya looked at him, her chest tight. "Marriage isn't something to be won on a dare," she said firmly. "But respect, understanding, and trust, those are worth more than any contract or joke." Miles blinked, genuinely surprised. He had spent a lifetime surrounded by people who flattered him for power, wealth, or influence, yet here was a woman who valued principles over extravagance, courage over performance. And for the first time, he realized that love was not about dares or bravado, it was about finding someone who could match your spirit, challenge your assumptions, and inspire you to be more than yourself. It was then, standing on that sunlit rooftop, that Aria's secret came to light. While the world knew her as a janitor, few knew she held a pilot's license, an achievement she had earned through clandestine lessons funded by extra shifts and frugal savings. She had never boasted, never sought recognition, but the moment demanded honesty. "Miles, I didn't just guess today. I've been trained. I've been preparing for this, for me, for my brother, for the dreams I refuse to give up on." Miles was silent, processing the depth behind her words. He had laughed at the thought of marrying a janitor on a whim, but now, he was struck by the layers of dedication, resilience, and quiet ambition she carried with her every day. Her secret wasn't just her ability to fly, it was her refusal to be defined by her circumstances, her refusal to let life dictate the limits of her potential. The rooftop felt like the edge of a new world. Below them, the city buzzed with indifference, unaware of the extraordinary courage unfolding above. Miles reached out, taking her hand gently. "Aria, I think I misjudged what it means to live," he said, a rare vulnerability in his voice. "You show me that life isn't about dares or games, it's about heart, determination, and the courage to rise above fear." Tears pricked Aria's eyes, but they weren't from fear or fatigue, they were tears of recognition. Finally, someone saw her not for her job or her status, but for her heart, for the tenacity that had kept her moving forward despite every obstacle. "Miles," she whispered, voice breaking slightly, "maybe marriage isn't about dares, but maybe love is about choosing to see someone for who they truly are, not just who they appear to be." The air between them seemed to shimmer, a quiet understanding passing where words could not fully reach. And in that moment, the boundaries of class, expectation, and fear dissolved. They weren't CEO and janitor, pilot and observer, they were two souls recognizing courage, vulnerability, and the possibility of shared dreams. Days turned into weeks, and the office that once seemed vast and intimidating became a stage for a different kind of connection. Miles and Aria spent time together not just in boardrooms or on helipads, but in quiet corners of the city, sharing laughter, stories, and the kind of human connection that power could never buy. He watched her with growing admiration as she navigated life's chaos with grace, never losing sight of her priorities, her family, her dreams, her integrity. One afternoon, as the golden sunlight of late day poured into the office, Miles turned to Aria with a sincerity that caught her off guard. "I want the world to see you, not just know you," he said softly. "You deserve recognition for your courage, your heart, your brilliance. Will you let me help you?" Aria smiled, heart swelling, realizing that this offer wasn't just about career advancement, it was about partnership, trust, and the rare chance to step into a life where her worth was fully seen. She nodded, knowing that this was the beginning of something bigger than both of them, a testament to resilience, courage, and second chances. As they stood on the balcony, watching the city bathe in the soft hues of afternoon light, Aria realized that her life had changed, not because of a dare, a helicopter, or a CEO's challenge, but because she had dared to believe in herself when the world hadn't. And Miles, watching her with awe, understood that the bravest thing a person could do was to live authentically, unafraid of judgment, and willing to take flight toward their dreams. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Let others witness the power of courage, kindness, and second chances, and don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Journal for more stories that inspire and uplift. Special request, just before the ending, take a moment to reflect on the everyday heroes in your life, the quiet ones who rise above adversity with dignity and courage. They are the true architects of inspiration. In the end, Aria didn't marry Miles because of a dare, she married him because he had seen her truth, acknowledged her spirit, and believed in the potential that had always been there. And Miles, he had finally learned that true power lay not in control or wealth, but in recognizing, honoring, and uplifting the extraordinary humanity in those around him. Together, they soared, both literally and figuratively, embodying the kind of love, respect, and courage that makes life feel